This Parks.
What's happening?
Microphone check 1, 2. What is this? We are here on an off day. Let me tell the people how this came to be.
All right.
I DM'd you, and I felt odd because as a man, you don't really DM men, right? Let me just be honest. We don't DM men, honestly.
Nah, but if it's a purpose, yeah.
Oh, still don't DM men. But we got it off, and I said, yo, man, love what you're doing. Keep it up. And we had that exchange, and then randomly out the blue, I said, yo, I'd love to have you. And you just happened to be in the city, in New York City.
That's right. And yeah, we DM for business. I'm good with DMs for business.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, this is about the third or fourth time I've been to Manhattan in the last 6 months, and probably back in a couple of 3 weeks. But I wanted to make sure I got a chance to get by here because I'm about to do a lot more collaborations. I'd already done with No Jumper about a couple of months ago. And the thing is, I want to get out and talk to as many people who are not used to what I say, because many people are getting introduced to me off of clips. And you really can't kind of gauge anything off a clip other than what they want you to gauge. So I'm like, well, if you're gonna say something like I say, even on my show, you need to take it to as many people, friendly or not, and be able to have a conversation. And if nothing else, you get credit for at least showing up and having a convo. So,
Well, I have to be honest with you. I've spoken to a few people to let them know that I was doing this interview. Some of them were women.
yeah.
And boy, were they angry about it.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, they killed me. They kicked my ass. So I love you. I love everybody. But how do you feel? Do you know that feeling is out there?
I know that feeling exists for a vocal minority. What I also know is I get the videos of women saying, "Thank you, Kevin Samuels, for saving my marriage. Kevin Samuels is the reason I'm engaged." And if you watch my show instead of the clips, you'll see women all the time coming on saying, "You know what? When I first heard you, I didn't know what to think about it, but I sat back and I listened to it myself end to end. And I can't deny I agree with a lot of things you're saying. I've even tried some of these things, and I'm a better friend, a better daughter, better sister, a better cousin, a better wife, a better girlfriend. My current generations, my future generations, thank you." So I'll take any of the critics, because what they don't do, they don't come and actually talk to me when I have my smoke show. I open it up at least every 30 to 45 days and say, "And you have plenty of notice. Come on, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it." So, I believe there's a certain amount of people who are detractors, and I also think my name is kind of popular right now, so it makes for good clicks.
That part.
But if you really have a problem with it, let's talk about it. I agree. And that never really tends to happen.
Got it.
What's your background? How did you kind of get started into your show?
Well, it's a long path.
You can paraphrase.
My background is pretty much this. I spent most of my adult life in corporate sales. That's how I actually got to New York City. Spent some time in advertising and marketing, but the net of it is, as an image consultant, I was finding my male clients, when they were coming in, becoming the best version of themselves, they kept coming back with the same thing. Looking for women on my level, my new level, my adjusted level, and I'm not finding any women who really are fitting what I'm looking for. Now, see, what we have been told is a lot of guys don't want relationships or marriage or this or that, and that's really kind of the opposite. But many of the guys are saying, I'm trying to find somebody who wants to work with me and not wanting to be at odds with me. So I came onto YouTube years ago speaking to men. 3+ years of videos just speaking to men, and no one cared. But around June of last year, after I did a show that was almost like a Shark Tank kind of show, I started speaking to women, because I've been speaking to women since 1989, back when we were doing these things on college campus. We'd have these relationship seminars, these dating seminars, back when Shahrazad Ali's book came out and caused all that whirlwind. We've been talking about relationships for the longest. So just like anybody else, I got a point of view and an opinion, and I just started talking to women about some of the things I'm seeing and a lot of things I'm hearing from men, and that kind of caught a moment. And, of course, One video got onto World Star, and it had some traction, but of course, the average of best video is the one that really blew up. And I said, over 200,000, that wasn't about me. That's about us. That video did numbers that I've looked on their page, and I haven't seen videos with 8 years with that amount of views. People were from coast to coast contact me and told me over the weekend they were watching the entire video and having like love-in, lock-ins and having this conversation. It started a conversation. And my thing is actually started a conversation with women that men have always been having. We had this conversation on the basketball court, playing dominoes, spades in the barbershop. And when we can take them no cussing signs off, when we can be men like we grew up being, not these new grass-eating lions like we have to be today. No cussing in the barbershop. Men can't be men anywhere. We actually say what is on our mind. Now, the things that a lot of men are wanting are the same thing they've always wanted, cooperation. But that's what men across the board are seeming to get in diminished quantities. And what we do here is we hear it all from one side, from color purple to exhaling to everything else. We hear what women want. Great. Well, I have one question to the women. What do the kind of men you want from a woman? And that's when you get cricket ass quiet.
You can't ask that shit, man.
Man, could you give the man some credit for grass-eating lions?
Yeah.
Give him some credit for grass-eating lions.
Listen, man.
The problem is you could not ask because before, you guys are used to all this. You're artists, musicians, and everything else. I come from the corporate side. But one thing I do know, 52 years old, that if you wanted to get out and speak to the public, you had to go through some sort of FCC regulated something. Mm-hmm. ABC, NBC, CBS, PBS, if there was anything. And then outside of New York City, AM, FM radio, the media was controlled. And the media's job is to sell advertising, which I sold. And if you're going to have programs on during the daytime, you better sell advertising to the people who you got to give them the program they want. Yeah. Even Gillette
razors
is sitting around telling men how to be new kind of men. Mm-hmm. Now you got a men's product lecturing men on how to be better men. I'm like, where the women's products telling women how about just be nice?
Softer side of Sears.
Just be nice. So what we haven't done is the marketplace. This does what it does. If 73 cents out of every dollar is spent in this country is spent by women, you better give a marketing message to the people who spend the money. That makes sense. Problem is we get an unbalanced view of things, and the net of it is the modern dating environment is not working. It's falling apart. And people are not getting together here, other places. The hookup economy, all these things are existing. And here's the thing. Women are unhappy with the outcomes. Women are vocal about women have no problem being vocal about the things they don't like. Men have learned not to say anything.
You fucking right, we did.
You can't say that.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we did. I agree.
Some of me has to believe that you have to subscribe to some of the myths of the woman that you want to sleep with.
Well, I will say this. Men have learned that if I say too much truth, I will be canceled. I'll lose money. I'll lose deals. I'll lose this.
Especially in entertainment.
Yes. So it becomes who buys the concert tickets and the shirts and everything else. So men in a business interest, we're practical. We're cost benefit calculators. What's the benefit to what I'm going to say versus the cost? Now, what's happened is, I hate the term social media. Social media has happened. So it has democratized the access to the airwaves. The smartphone and high-speed internet access has taken away has leveraged the power that the TV stations, the cable stations, and the radio stations used to have. You needed to go to them to build an audience. Indeed. Now you can build your own audience. And I just built an audience talking about the things that matter to my audience.
And now,
so now they can't quote unquote cancel you as easy. They still can, but you still have different outlets. There have always been men saying things that are kind of pushing the envelope, but now it's becoming, I won't say more acceptable, it's starting to happen with more frequency. I'll say that.
Okay.
I agree. Wholeheartedly.
Anybody in here familiar with Jordan Peterson?
No.
Dr. Jordan Peterson. Dr. Jordan Peterson, he's a psychologist out of Canada. He made a big splash by rejecting a mandate from the government of Canada, basically saying that you have to call somebody by their designated pronoun that they chose. It wasn't that he didn't want to call them by their pronoun. He just rejected to being the codification of speech. He didn't want his free speech to be incurred upon. So he became worldwide phenomena for basically standing up saying, you cannot in law tell me how I have to address somebody. I can choose to do that or not. And he's never said he wouldn't do that. He just said he doesn't want it to be law. Men like that are starting, he started a movement more or less. I would say not started a movement. He's caught a wave on the movement. And he went from being really relatively unknown to, in a short period of time, gaining 2 million followers on YouTube, earning like $400,000 or $500,000 a month on Patreon. And he's a professor in Canada. And you know one of the things that he said that slipped under the radar? He basically told men you need to go clean up your room. Basically saying men need to be men. But what got him in hot water was the fact that he actually just said, you can't tell me how I have to speak to somebody in law. And however, on the other side, you have no problem how you speak to us.